series of the famous rabbis of yesteryear. Now we're approaching the 4th of Kislev. It marks the Hilula of Rabbi Shlomo Houri, Zecher Tzedek Livracha, famous rabbi of his time. He passed away actually in 1937. We're talking about 8 years ago. Here from the time of recording, he was actually born back in the year 1890. So he lived about approximately reported over 47 years. And a great rabbi from Tunisia, respectively. A rabbi I believe we've mentioned about various occasions before. It's possibly maybe the 5th or 6th rabbi we've spoken about from the Khoury family, respectively, from Tunisia over here in this series already. Now, he actually came from a rabbinic auspices. I believe his father's name was Rabbi Eliyahu Houri. He was born in Jerba back in the year 1890. I think we've spoken about Rabbi Eliyahu on several occasions here before inside this series, which very much recommend everyone to look back into and re-educate ourselves with regards to the history of Rabbanim. So he was born in Jerba over there. Now, while he was young, he would learn under the auspices of his father, Rabbi Eliyahu, very respectfully. Now, it's actually interesting. I think he was a descendant of another famous rabbi, Rabbi Rachmim Houri Harishon. Now, I believe we mentioned about him on various occasions before here inside this series. He was, he himself, I think, was a famous rabbi. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he actually passed away himself in the year 1891. And that was actually Rabbi Rachmim Houri Hasheni, if I'm not mistaken. But passed away in 1891. I'm not too sure the exact date when the Harishon had passed away in of itself, but I believe he was a descendant of this great family. And remember, Tunisia at that point in time, it was like a bastion of Torah learning over there. There was many great rabbis, I think, especially at the time period, let's just say, of Rabbi Rachmim Houri Hasheni. I think he was living in a generation and learning with great rabbis like Rabbi Matok Kohen, Rabbi Chayuta Sheli, Rabbi Matok Hatab, really, really great rabbis of the greatest caliber in of itself. Many of them would, I think, spend time and actually go to the land of Israel at various occasions before. I think there was a famous book of the Khoury family, which was a Sefer Dor Revi'i, if I'm not mistaken, which consists of various different novelties inside the Torah. And I think it was actually printed, if I'm not mistaken, in Kiryat Arba of all places. So that's very, very much interesting in of itself. But okay, let's continue speaking about Rav Shlomo over there. So he will grow up with regards to Torah from the great rabbis in Jerba of that stage of time. I think it was in the year 1918, Tafresh Ein Chet, Hidish et Pilut Kupat Talmud Torah, Shiasad Beshnat Tafresh Nun Daled in the year 1894 of Rav Kalfon Moshe HaKohen. Very, very interesting enough at that point in time. There was, remember we talked about, there was a lot of rich yeshivot, let's just say, in that specific era in of itself. And he would renew, let's just say, and really make much greater that original yeshiva, which was set up by Rabbi Kalfon Moshe HaKohen in the previous years in of itself. In the year 1918, I think it was actually established back in the year 1894 by Rabbi Moshe Kalfon, who was a very, very great rabbi of that stage in time. Let's just say a word within regards to Rabbi Kalfon Moshe HaKohen. We actually recorded several videos, I believe, within regards to him. I think if you look back, it was about 3 years ago we recorded a video within regards to him inside this series. So arguably one of the greatest rabbis from Tunisia. I think he was actually born in the year 1874 and passed away in the year 1950, Rabbi Kalfon did. He was obviously from Jerba also, respectively, and his great-grandfather was a very great rabbi, Rabbi Shaul HaKohen, who I think was a head of Jewish court in Jerba in his day. And what's interesting, I think he came actually from a well-off financial family, and they were very generous, especially to the needy inside the city in of itself. I think Rav Moshe Kalfon Moshe Kohen's father actually was another great rabbi, respectively. I think Rav Shalom, who had been the author of various great Torah colossal books, including Nahar Shalom, Hevetz Yakar, Hayim V'Shalom, respectively. And he would actually receive himself his education from the chief rabbi of Tunisia. At his point in time was Rabbi Yosef Barabi, another great rabbi who mentioned about on various occasions before. And I think he would spend some time in service learning. And when he was only 21 years of age, he would actually get married, I think, to the daughter of his maternal uncle, Rabbi Aaron HaKohen. and they would have two great sons, Rabbi Avram and Rav Shushan, and several daughters, I think 4 daughters respectively. But then would write great Torah books, including Birkat Abraham. I think even when he was young, if I'm not mistaken. And no, sorry, I think his son would actually write a great Torah book called the Birkat Abraham. But I think his son sadly passed away at the age of 33, if I'm not mistaken. But without doubt, you could say that Rabbi Moshe HaKohen was one of the famous rabbis of Tunisia. He was seen definitely as a very Zionistic rabbi, really did support, let's just say, the Tunisian community really go back to Eretz Israel in of itself. And much can be said, he passed away himself in the year 1950 and was very well liked by all Tunisian residents, respectively, and had wrote apparently 80 different works. I think they were published, if I'm not mistaken, and they encompass all different ranges of Judaism, respectively, in of itself. I think the Brit Kahuna, which is a compilation, for example, of customs of the Jewish community of Jerba and its surrounding areas. I think there was a work on the Code of Jewish Law, the Shulchan Aruch, and I think some of the works are still in manuscript, if I'm not mistaken, among them the Tzedek, Rachamim, if I'm not mistaken, also. But we're just going on a bit of a tangent over here. We're speaking over here today inside this edition of Rabbi Shlomo Houri. So we're just speaking about Rabbi Moshe HaKohen, one of the famous Tunisian rabbis at that point in time, who he was quite close to, if I'm not mistaken. Shemesh Gizbeh HaKuppah, I think, was a treasurer of the Kuppah of the Or Torah in itself, respectively, I think, which really protect, I think, the poor and the needy inside that city. Now, it's actually interesting. He would do a lot within regards to outreach work, Jewish outreach work, and huge amounts. Hacham Shlomo Houri pa'al larbot Torah lizchut et arabim. Hu tzamach b'dei talmidei chachamim. He would get support of various different great Torah scholars at that point in time. V'siyah b'pirsum ha'yerachon haTorani otsar haTorah. So I think at that point in time there was a publication, obviously a school system would come out called the Otsar Torah all throughout North African countries. I believe he had a shop, so he was working in trade part of the day. So really the Torah and the outreach work and education and the Torah learning will be the main source of the day. I think it was complemented by a slight amount of, let's just say, workings in of itself. Like he would get married to Marat Misha, if I'm not mistaken. She happened to have been the Bat Achoto Sarah. Yaakov Haddad. Remember, we spoke about Yaakov Haddad, also another great rabbi of Tunisia in his day. Another rabbi we've spoken about, I believe, inside this series. If I'm not mistaken, I believe, yeah, he was, I think, from Jabs, if I'm not mistaken. Was also from Jerba, from various different places, and was another famous rabbi of his time. That's something that we definitely have to point out. Was the author, I think, of several different great Torah works. So that's very interesting. So we happen to be speaking about so Rabbi Shlomo Houri over here today, if anyone is tuning in live. Okay, so he would get, and Mishlon Lahem Yiladim Nasali Sha'et Saduna Bitosh Rachmin Bitan. I believe he would get married, if I'm not mistaken, to the daughter of Rabbi Rachmin Bitan. And we've spoken about him, also another great Tunisian rabbi. So we mentioned him. I believe on various occasions over here before, and I think they would go on to have 3 daughters and a son, if I'm not mistaken, and I think his wives would help raise the children together, if I'm not mistaken. So very interesting. Rabbi Rachmin Bitan, I think he was a great rabbi. It's a rabbi we spoke about, I believe, not so long ago. Let's say a word within regards to Rav Rachamim. Remember, Bitan was a famous rabbinic dynasty, I think, at that point in time in Jerba. I think we spoke about Rav Tzion Bitan, who would have also been possibly a relation of his, if I'm not mistaken. There was also other great rabbis like I think Rabbi Avram Bitan also in his day. So very interesting enough. And so he passed away, I believe. He was only about 47 years of age on the 4th of Kislev back in the year 1937. We're talking about 88 years ago. He would leave some great Torah colossal works, including the Cheshek Shlomo, which was a Likutei on the Tanakh, the Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim, respectively, over there. I think there was incorporating the words, some of the Torah teachings from the great wise people from Tunisia, there's Musar teachings, and I think it was really, I think it would come out after he passed away in the year 1942, Tafshen Bet, if I'm not mistaken. And very, very interesting. So I think that there was a book Yad Eliyahu also, I think in the year 1978. His Sefer Udvas Peshnat Tavshin Lomet Chet, 1978. Yachad Imadoro Chosroto Shel Sefer Cheshek Shlomo. If I'm not mistaken, there'll be later printing over there at that stage in time. And let's explore a few of the highlights of his book, especially from the Cheshek Shlomo. I think coming from page number 17, if I'm not mistaken, on the first page over there, first part, Melamed Zeche Le'olam Brito, B'mi Shedebet Siva V'shoneh Me'a V'achat Pa'amim. It's a teaching, I think, came out in 1942. This very Torah important work did. Another teaching of his actually comes from page number 15. Melamed Ki Delonu Ma'od Miglot Ado Shehu B'sof Ha'elef Ha'revi'i. This also came out in the year 1942. Another teaching, Melamed, She'al Yedei Tzedakah, Me'echalim lechasto, U'metzapim lege'ula. The importance of doing charity work it's talking about over here. This comes from the Cheshek Shlomo, I believe, from page number 20 of that book, respectively. Another teaching, Melamed, Le'rodef Ashalom Kedei La'asir Yetzara, Hamitgara Bo Lechato. This comes actually from page number 27, if I'm not mistaken, Amud Bet. A few more teachings from his book, Melamed, Shedigesh Ba'ot Lamed B'Tvilah, Shetzricha Tvilah Liyot Nidgeshet B'Libo. Talking about the importance that tefillah should come from someone's heart. Over here, this comes from page number 8, I believe, in Amud Bet, if I'm not mistaken. And penultimate teaching over here, Melamed, Asher Mi Shamlo, Velo Mi She'osek, Larbot Mi She'omel She'elamdo Ba. This comes from page number 23, I think Amud Bet, once again from the Cheshek Shlomo book, respectively. And one last teaching, very nice teaching, Melamed. Shro'ui le'mechabe le'remos, shemo barosh sifro. This comes from Amud Zayin, I think, in the Cheshek Shlomo, respectively. Once again, it was printed, I believe, in the year 1942. This was only 6 years before the formation of the state, which are very, very interesting enough. So don't forget, the 4th of Kislev marks the famous Rabbi Hilula over here. And as we're going from strength to strength, as said before, I recommend everyone to look back at our playlist of the stories of the Tzaddikim. We've covered already here on this series approximately about nearly 1,400 great rabbis from North African countries, Ottoman countries, Sephardic countries of yesteryear, which is always a great honor to do. And very important, it's possible about the 5th or 6th rabbi we've actually recorded within regards connected to the Khoury rabbinic dynasty in of itself, respectively. So I very, very much recommend everyone to watch over those previous videos. Now, friends, we're a community here as we're learning about the great Oriental rabbis of yesteryear here inside this series. So don't forget, please join our community and join our channel. We're nearing a staggering 8,000 subscribers over here, which is a phenomenal achievement. And also, it's not just we're recording videos over here on great Chachamim of yesteryear. We've got a new special series over here where we are exploring about the history of the rabbinates in various different countries all over the world. We today, in fact, last few days recorded about Bolivia, the Jewish community over there. We recorded, I believe, about Kazakhstan quite recently, and I think this morning we recorded another publication. We recorded about the Jewish country Sudan today, which is very, very interesting, and spoken just about a breadth of all various different countries at the moment. So Azerbaijan we spoke about this morning, which is very interesting. So they had a rich Jewish culture in their day, and something that many people would not necessarily talk about just in general, respectively, over here. So I recommend everyone to watch those previous videos that we recorded, and please join the channel also. Now, friends, if you descend from any of the rabbis we've spoken about, please send me an email. I would love to hear more information within regards to that. And if you feel anyone is interested in watching any of these videos we are recording, please share these videos, friends, also to other people, and join this community. So wishing you a fantastic day. Shavua Tov V'rach, and thanks for watching, friends. Thank you.